Welcome to Fact Check Friday, the Unparented Heart Edition, because only the truth sets the unparented heart free.
Before we get started, please note, this podcast may include discussions about emotionally difficult family dynamics, including emotionally absent or unavailable parents. Everything shared here is for educational and motivational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional mental health advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Please seek support from a licensed professional if you need it.
Well, hello, bright souls. Hi, welcome to Fact Check Friday. I am happy that it's the end of the week. I hope that you had a blessed and wonderful week. It's definitely been one that I need prayer for, so pray for me. Getting this information out to you can be challenging, but God is so good and so faithful. And we just have to remember that when we are doing the Lord's work and we're trying to grow, that we are going to have obstacles come our way, no matter what. So I ask that you guys stay consistent, continue to show up, because you are growing. You're growing in your walk. You're understanding what has caused you to be the person that you are today and how you can take ownership of your life. You are taking ownership of your life so that you can grow stronger in your relationship with Christ. It is so important. The day and age that we're living in, we need to learn how to remove those barriers that are keeping us from a true and real connection with our Lord and Savior. So let's get into it. Today, we are finishing the week with Fact Check Friday, and we are finishing it off with the inconsistent parent and the self-focused parent. Both of these parents create the same wound, but it happens in different ways. So let's start with the inconsistent parent. This parent creates emotional whiplash. When that came up for me, I immediately thought about the story of the roller coaster that I told you about this week. And the roller coaster ride, if you've ever been on a roller coaster before, it's been years for me. But getting off of a roller coaster, being just swung around from left to right and going up and down, you feel like your neck is hurting, you're unstable. It is definitely whiplash when it comes to dealing with these type of parents, because you just never know which version of them that you're going to get. You're either going to get one that is warm one day or cold the next. And you don't know if you are doing anything right or if you're doing anything wrong. Even breathing sometimes can set them off. Why are you breathing so hard? I don't know if you've ever heard that before, but just anything can set them off when it comes to you and depending on the mood that they're in. Here's the reality. The inconsistent parent, they're warm one day and then they're cold the next. They're showing you the affection, and they get a text message, get a phone call, and it sets them off. Then they take that out on you, and then they're showing coldness towards you. Another thing you can identify in an inconsistent parent is that they can wake up laughing in the morning. And I know everybody has stresses. We all go through different types of things, but the inconsistent parent is like they have two different personalities. One moment they're laughing with you in the morning, and then the next thing they're slamming doors and they are in a bad mood by dinner time, and you don't know why. And they're taking it out on you. It's not as though they're protecting you from it. They're actually taking this out on you. They're ignoring you. They're not showing any affection towards you. It's just so up and down, and you have to guess what mood they're in. And it's so cringeworthy when you think about it. They can be proud of you on Monday. As a child, you come home with a good report, and then the next day they're calling you ungrateful. And you didn't do anything but maybe ask them for a new pair of shoes. And then they say, oh, you're ungrateful because you want something that they can't give you. And instead of saying, I can't do this for you at this time, they're calling you names. You know, I lived through that. I was a B honor roll student, and my dad would just come and say, oh, you're doing so great. You're doing so good. And then the next thing it was, oh, you need to do better. This isn't good enough. And if I needed something, oh, you're being so ungrateful. I used to hear that all the time with just disgust in his voice. And instead of saying, you know what, I can't afford it right now, or we don't have the money for it right now, it was the accusation towards me. Another thing inconsistent parents do is they will be inconsistent on how they raise you. One minute, they are allowing you to stay up at 9:30 at night, and then the next minute or the next week, they're telling you, oh, you need to be in bed at 9. And you're like, well, you let me stay up at 9:30. I thought that was my new time. So raising you had inconsistency. The rules were inconsistency. And if they yell at you and they're going off, and then all of a sudden they go into the next room and they act like nothing happened after they just blew up at you. And you're like, I don't know if you're mad at me or if we're okay, because they never explain what it is that they're going through, and what they don't express their honest feelings towards you. When the parent acts unpredictable, it wires the child's nervous system for hypervigilance, anxiety, and people pleasing. You learn as a child to read those micro expressions, and you hear the footsteps, the tone shifts. And because your body is trying to keep you safe, you're predicting what the next emotional swing is going to be. In your mind, if you hear them coming, if they're stomping down the hall, or you hear a certain sigh, you know in your gut that, oh, here we go again. And you're bracing yourself. And you're trying to keep yourself safe from whatever hits you're going to take, either verbally, in some cases it might be physically. That is not right for a child to go through. And what happens is, as you continuously go through this as a child into your adult years, it shows up in your personal life. As an adult, you start scanning the room. You may not even notice that you're doing it, but you are trying to figure out what the tone is before you actually can feel like you can relax. If you have to have a conversation with someone, you rehearse it in your head, just so that you can make sure that you don't come off wrong, you don't sound bad, you don't say the wrong words. You brace yourself when someone's tone changes because you think they're angry at you. And a lot of times people will say, why are you so defensive? You don't realize that your posture is in a defensive stance. You also feel like when you rest, it's not safe, and you don't get to rest. You haven't earned it. So you constantly stay in motion. Like, I got to do something. If I don't get this room clean as an adult, if I don't get this room clean, it's not good enough. It doesn't look good enough. Some people have immaculate cars. I mean, spick and span clean. And it's because they have to feel like that vehicle that they have, it's unearned. So they have to do something to make it feel like you've earned it. You over prepare for everything. You have a checklist Can I tell you something? I keep a checklist. Yeah, you over prepare. When we go on vacation, my husband and I'm learning, you guys, I am truly learning. We literally have 2 full suitcases, and I'm not talking about small. They're large suitcases, and they come right underneath the 50-pound limit. Why? Because I am constantly preparing for the worst. And I'm learning how to be okay with not preparing for every scenario that's going to happen. And the last thing, in your personal life, you feel responsible for everyone's emotions. If someone says they don't like something, you're trying to find out why and trying to fix it. If someone is in a good mood, you want to make sure they stay that way. You're finding ways to manage other people's emotions. And what about at work? What about when you try to read management's mood? You're whispering to your coworker, is our boss in a good mood today? Have you seen them? Have you talked to them? What's going on? These are characteristics, you guys. And I'm not done yet. When you're at work, you over-explain to try to make sure that person understands. And a lot of times they understand, you just over-explain and you're talking too much and they're just waiting their turn. But you are over-explaining why you did something, how you feel, where it's coming from. The next thing, a lot of my high achievers, they do this. You take on tasks before anyone asks. You do too much. You are doing way too much. And then you also get upset when someone tells you, I didn't ask you to do that. It's because you are already preparing yourself. You were trying to do everything possible to keep any type of conflict from happening. And then if management calls you into the office, you have the worst case scenario played in your head. You are already in defensive mode. You replay that conversation and every little thing that they're going to say, they're going to do. You have an answer for it and you have a defense for it. And the last couple of things, I want you to take note of this because it doesn't just happen at work, but it also happens at home. Delegating feels dangerous. I am that I'll just do it myself person. And I used to be really, really bad. I could not wait 2 seconds for someone to do something. And I'll be like, just forget it. I'll do it myself. I felt like I was responsible for everything. And if someone told me that they needed to pause, it was like, okay, well, you're saying no. It was automatic rejection. Calm moments, they feel suspicious. When someone pauses, it makes you feel uncomfortable. How did you feel when I paused just right then? Did you think that something happened? Maybe I didn't pause long enough. But if someone is talking calmly to you and they are regulated in their emotion, then you are looking like, I don't trust it. You see, these areas of your life, you were conditioned to respond that way. Your body is responding because it was trained to do so from your inconsistent parents. So as a child, everything was unpredictable, and so you think that way as an adult. This is just something to take in, something to realize, something to reflect on. Let's go to the self-focused parent. The self-focused parent, they don't raise their children to be children. They actually want a mirror, someone to reflect back their ego and make them comfortable. And if you don't look right, and if you don't act right, it's a reflection on them. So you know what happens when you're doing great and you're doing good? They take ownership of that. You were never allowed to take ownership of the things that you did right. Your achievements were their bragging rights. Your emotions, if you showed any emotions, they were too much for them. And as you got older and you began to have boundaries, stay out of my room, don't come into my room, that was an insult to them. Your pain, if you expressed it, it was, do you have to go through that right now? Now I have to take you to the hospital. I don't have time for this. You fell, you broke something. It was inconvenient. And finally, you were expected to comfort them. You were supposed to say, oh, Mom, you did such a great job. You know, I got a promotion today. Oh, well, great. That is so awesome. You're doing such a good job. And you were also expected to protect them, even though you were a child. They didn't see you as a child. They saw you as a reflection of themselves. They took responsibility. If you did good, oh, look at my little genius. Oh, I'm so proud of you. I did that. I raised you. I'm the one that made sure you did your homework and you did this and you did. They didn't say, well, I'm proud of you. You put a lot of time and effort into that. I know that test was really hard for you, but you studied your butt off. It was, no, I helped you. I did this. I did that. This type of parent, they taught you that your needs don't matter unless it benefits them. You learn to stay small. And when I say stay small, meaning you made yourself invisible. You try not to be seen. You try not to be heard. And this is so that they can stay comfortable. When I told you my story of being quiet all the time, it was just so that I can just disappear. So that my dad would not have a reason to yell at me for anything. You learn to be an adult. You just grew up too soon. And that's so that they can stay young. They're living vicariously through your eyes because they never had what you have. And they're jealous of that in most cases. But they rob you from being a child. And again, your emotions, they don't matter. Your tears, they took up space. Your injuries, they were inconvenient because it took the focus off of them. So now as an adult, how does that show up? As an adult in your personal life, you're constantly saying yes until you're exhausted. Yes, I'll work overtime. Yes, I'll take more work. Yes, I'll babysit your kid, even though I have my own. Yes to your significant other, even though that's not something you want to do or where you want to go. You hide. You hide your needs. You try to avoid being a burden. You're constantly giving in. You're constantly apologizing. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I'm so sorry. Are you busy? I'm so sorry. You do it just so that you keep the peace. And then if you're in a bad mood, guess what you do? Someone calls you out on it. Are you in a bad mood? No, I'm not in a bad mood. I'm okay. How are you doing today? Oh, I'm blessed and highly favored. I have learned to stop saying that. How are you doing today? I am not doing well, but I am going to get there. How about that? You fix the tension. So if you walk into a room, say you're at home and you're with family and they've been fighting, you feel the need that you gotta intervene and be the positive one and try to get everybody to come together. And then there's those moments when you decide, I'm going to do something for me today, but you feel guilty choosing yourself. Let's talk about work. How does that show up there? You don't express your opinions. You don't stand up for yourself. Someone may have an idea and it just doesn't work, or you may have a better idea, or you may have an idea that works in conjunction with it, and you shrink back. You don't say anything, or you express it and they say no. You don't stand up for what you believe. You take on extra work. You take on extra work. Because if you say no, you know what? Your boss is going to be mad at you. I'm not going to get a good raise. My performance review is going to say I refuse to do my work. You don't set boundaries. You don't set boundaries with people in your personal life or your business. And you do that because you don't want to seem like, oh, I'm not a team player. I don't want them to think that I'm a difficult person. I'm not a team player. Then you turn around and you overextend yourself and your calendar is full. You have so many projects that are due at the same time. You don't set boundaries. You overextend yourself. You don't know how to say no. And then you measure your worth by how people see you. If people say, oh, you're such an awesome person, you're so nice, you're great, you're always doing this, you're always doing that, then you feel like you're on top of the world. But if someone says, I don't like her, she has a bad attitude, you're trying to find out why, and you're trying to fix it. People pleasing, that isn't kindness. That's survival mode. You aren't the problem. Can you change some different things? Of course you can. You're human. But that means you have to first figure out who you are. You have to figure out who you are. Who are you? Not who your parents shaped you to be. Who are you? What you don't understand is that both these type of parents, they created the same wound. They created a child who grew up believing that they had to earn love. You had to earn where you stand in someone's life. You had to learn how to manage your emotions instead of expressing them. You had to stay small. And you had to act like you never needed anything. You don't need help. You can do this. You can take on the world. You're a super person. And you also show up as an adult like you never want to take up space. You just want to stay in a corner. You want to keep the peace. You don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. That has nothing to do with you. You were managed. You were used. You were tolerated. And most of all, you were emotionally abandoned. And now you're trying to heal from childhood trauma, and you're trying to survive, and you're not experiencing life the way God created it. I wish that I can just show you who you really are. I wish that I can just open up your world and your life and tell you how precious, how wonderful, how strong and resilient you are. God created you in such a way that your talents, your gifts, your ideas, they are here to bless the world. And I just wish that I could just show you that. Bright, so we are getting ready to close this out. So I want you to feel grounded. Understanding who your parents were, it only makes you a better person. Again, this isn't to condemn them. It's to bring understanding to you so that you can take a look at yourself and change and break those generational curses. See, your parents didn't have the means or the way or the know-how to break the bad habits, to change their lives, to change their circumstances. But you do. We have podcasts, we have books, we have internet, we have a plethora of information out there. So there's no reason why you should stay stuck. But most of all, we have each other. We can have all the information in the world, but it just hits differently when you know that someone has gone through it and can help walk you through it. I am here to help coach you at any point of your life if you're interested. If you've gone through the therapy and you've gone through being able to get to a point where you have dealt with your past and you are ready to move forward, you're ready to say, I want to take ownership of my life. I've dealt with the childhood wounds. I dealt with facing what has happened when I was a child. Now I'm ready to get an understanding and I'm ready to take an inward look at myself and say, I want to do the work to be able to move forward. Whether that's in your personal life, in your career, I am here to help you. Definitely go to my website, 9crownsofgrace.life, and just take a look at what I have to offer. There's an assessment there that you can take to find out where you are. And once you take the assessment, you can schedule a 30-minute free discovery with me, and we can talk about where you are and where you want to go. But right now, what I want you to do before we close this out is take a deep breath. You don't have to resolve everything now and in one setting. I want you to be grounded. I want you to practice grounding yourself and being in the present. So, Bright Soul, can you do me a favor? Can you take a deep breath? Breathe in. And I just want you to gently breathe out. Release the tension. Release those things that are going in your mind. Let your body know that it's safe and that it's okay to not carry someone else's emotions. Let your body know that it doesn't have to carry what doesn't belong to it. The chaos, the emotional drama, it's not yours. You were trained to be this way, so we got to do the untraining. And the untraining starts with your mind. It's time to relax your mind. It's time to say, I can do this. It's time to tell that inner child in you, I got you. I am the adult, and I'm going to protect you. I do the way that I wasn't protected. And that means you are not going to take on responsibilities that you were never meant to carry. And we are getting ready to allow God to restore us into the person He wants us to be. We have gifts and talents that we can share and show the world. Yes, we do work hard, but we get gratification out of it. We don't have to be in a state of mind that we're constantly pleasing other people and we are not pleased. We have to learn how to love ourselves so that we can love others. Right? So I want you to keep sharing that with the little one in your heart and in your soul, so that you can keep walking in truth and you can keep healing. Every time you show up, you're not showing up for me. You're showing up for you and the little person that's inside of you. And it takes courage. So keep showing up and keep allowing God to make you whole. That's my time, bright soul. We'll see you next week. I'll be right here waiting for you. Bye for now. Well, bright soul, I pray today's episode met you with God's gentleness. If something touched your heart, I would really love to hear from you. You can leave me a review on Apple Podcast, or you can send me an email and share what God stirred in your heart. Or if you want to go deeper, you can order your Bright Soul Bundle Journal. It's on sale this month. It's a quiet way to meet God and meet yourself. Join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday as we keep healing with God. Until then, let your soul breathe.